right, so I've got this rectangle over here on the screen, and I am told the following. I'm told that this over here has a length of 2x plus 4, and this length over here is x plus 1. All right. And from this here, I'm told that the area is equal to, let's say, 140 meters squared. And the question is, find the length and width of the rectangle. Now, the first thing is they've given us the area. So what we must notice, or what we must remember, is that because we're given the area, we got to apply the area of a rectangle rule. And what does the area of a rectangle say? The area of a rectangle is given by length times width. My length over here is equal to 2x plus 4, so it's going to be 2x plus 4. And my width over here is x plus 1. And so the area will be given by that. But now remember, my area is 140. So 140 and 2x times x gets me 2x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x. 4 times x is 4. It's getting my two middle terms. 4 times 1 is 4. I end up with making the left-hand side equal to 0, bringing the 140 over. 2x plus 4x groups together like terms, becoming 6x plus 4 minus 140, subtracting the 140 on the other side, getting me 2x squared plus 6x. 4 minus 140 is negative 136. And so my A value ends up as 2, my B value ends up at 6, and my C value ends up at negative 136. And using that, I would now go to my quadratic formula, minus b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and substitute a, b, and c in there to get x. And so b will be negative 6 plus minus the square root of b squared, which is 6 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 2, times c, which is negative 136, over 2 multiplied by 2. That's negative 6 plus minus the square root of 36, and we can put this all on a calculator. So negative 4 times 2 will get you negative 8, and negative 8 multiplied by negative 136 is actually positive 1088 over 4, which would get me two values for x. So I'm just going to jump all of this, put all of this into a calculator and jump straight to the solution. So I'm going to end up with typing negative 6 plus the square root of 36 plus 1088 divided by 4 comes to 6.88. And keeping that fraction there, just changing it to a negative, becomes negative 9.88. It's 9, not 19, so just negative 9.88. And those are my two x values. Now, if we're dealing with lengths, remember x values can never be negative. So that means the negative answer, negative 9.88, is not applicable. So we put n/a, meaning it is not applicable, which means the solution would be x equals 6.88. We have not answered the question yet because we want to find the length and the width, which means we have to substitute this value in here to get 2 times 6.88 plus 4. And over here, take 6.88 plus 1 to get the width. So we take 2 times 6.88 plus 4 is 17.76. And 6.88 plus 1 comes to 7.88. And so that's my two solutions. my length will equal 17.76 and my width will equal 7.88. Check your exam, check your test, and see what the rounding conditions are around to three significant figures, round to two decimal places. In this case, we would then round this to 17.8. Three significant figures required for this conversion over here. Now, we ended up with a parabola at this point, which is actually a smiley face parabola with a y-intercept of -136, which we can actually draw as well, but we don't need to. And the solutions of the parabola would be the x values where it cuts the x-axis. This parabola would cut at -9.88, turn somewhere and cut at 6.88. Just for interest, for extra information, just highlighting the fact that we are dealing with a parabola. So we could, at some point, minimize this or maximize it if we needed in a question like that. All right. So let's try another one. This one now is a triangle. So in this triangle, I'm going to have a base and I'm going to have some kind of height. And yet again, we'll be dealing with area. Perpendicular height. I'm going to make this height 3x plus 4. And I'm going to make the base of the year 5x plus 7. And so I want to calculate the area of this, all right, in terms of what the formula for it is, in terms of x, given that it would be equal to 10 meters squared. All right, so calculate the value of x and calculate the height h and base b. All right, let's call it h and b. After you found the value of x. All right, let's see if you can do that. All right, most of you are done. Some of you not. I'm going to go through it now. Let's go through. Firstly, what is the area of a triangle? It's going to be base times height divided by 2. Now remember that over there is my base, and that over there is my height. So for question 1, I need to write down the formula. Area is equal to base height divided by 2. I'm given that the area is 10. I'm given that my base is 5x plus 7, and my height is 3x plus 4 divided by 2. And so now I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. This will end up as 20 equals 5x plus 7 multiplied by 3x plus 4. Bringing 0 onto the left-hand side and then multiplying this bracket out here would get me to 15x squared plus 20x plus 21x plus 28. Collecting like terms, 20 plus 21 comes to 41. So 15x squared plus 41x plus 28. 41 is a prime number, so we can't really divide all of them by a number, in which case we would use a calculator quadratic formula. All right, so if I did that, I've got a equals to 15, b equals to 41. These are big numbers, but don't be afraid. Put it carefully in the calculator. Minus 41 plus minus the square root of b squared, which is 41 squared minus 4 times 15 times 28. And hopefully that works out. If this does not work out, then there's no solution. And that's when we have a negative over here. then x becomes no solution. It looks like this is going to be quite a big number, and that also. So let's see what happens when we put it on a calculator. We can put just this part in the calculator, and if it does end up as a negative, then that's good. That's okay. No solution is a solution. So don't be afraid of a negative answer. So here we go. I'm going to type it in the negative. I'm going to put 41. Actually, I'm just going to put the whole thing in. Let's see what happens. All right. Don't want to overthink it. Just substitute it into it. All right. 41 squared minus 4 times 15 multiplied by 28 divided by 2 times 15 first equals. And it comes to a solution, which is great. So x can equal negative 1.3, or x can equal, so in this case here, this is not a negative, this is a positive. So there is solutions. So solutions do exist. And so that is the first one. The next one is 1.4. All right, first one is 1.33 with the 3 recurring, and x equals to 1.4. So I've now calculated the value of x. I now go to question 2. In question 2, I want to substitute it. So I want to substitute x equals to negative 1.33 or 1.4 into this. Now remember, x will equal 1.4 only because x equals to negative 1.33 may not work, because if I put a negative value in here, does it end up with a positive solution? If I put a negative value, negative 1.33, and it doesn't end up with that. And negative 1.33, for example, multiplied by 3 is negative 3.99 plus 4. This comes to 0.01. When I substitute that in there, this becomes 0.01, the height. And when I substitute it in here, let's see. So 5 times negative 1.33 plus 7 is actually a positive solution as well. So 0.35. So we can't really put not applicable in each of these. So what we have to do is use both solutions. All right. So that's going to be that. Now, when you put negative 41 in a calculator, for example, just remember, or any negative, you can just use the minus button. You press the fraction button, and then after that, you can use your minuses and pluses. So using a calculator, remember that press your fraction button, then after that, you got to scroll to the top, then you put negative, put the number in there, put plus first, get the answer, and then change that into minus, get the second answer after that. Okay. All right. So let's continue. Let's finish up this. X equals negative 1.33, or x equals to 1.4. And both solutions are valid. All right. And we want to substitute into 5x plus 7. And the height we said is 3x plus 4. So therefore, I can end up with two possible combination of b and h's. So when I substitute x equals 1.4, then base will equal 5 times 1.4 plus 7. And h is equal to 3 times 1.4 plus 4. And when I substitute x equals to negative 1.33, or 3 recurring, I could use 3 and a few decimal places as well. So let's say I did a few 3s. To get more accuracy, when I substitute it into the calculator, 5 times negative 1.3333. Does this actually work out now? Let's see. Okay, let's see if that works out in h. We then take 3 times negative 1.33. Remember, base and height cannot be negative values, so this solution has to be positive. Plus 4 for h. So grabbing the calculator again, brackets, use brackets as multiplication, or just substitution, which is great for accuracy. Use brackets on your calculator. This one's going to be 14. 3 times 1.4 plus 4 is 8.2. By the way, what's the units for this? Meters squared, so we know that's going to be meters. And over here, we're going to do exactly the same thing. So 5 times negative 1.333333. Add a few threes in there, plus 7 comes to 0.3 recurring, which is positive meters. All right, so we could keep this 2 decimal places now. Let's say if we needed to, we could put 3, etc. But I'm going to just use 0.33 now. And then 3 multiplied, last one, 3 multiplied by negative 1.33. Again, adding a lot of threes in there. Plus 4 comes to 0. Comes to 0 for this over here. And there we can see this. If this is producing some kind of answer which is equal to 0, then what does it mean? What does it mean for a triangle? A triangle with a height of 0 is just a line. So that will just be that base. The triangle will not go up. It will not have any height. So officially we can now state, because we used negative 1.33 instead of previously, which we had negative 1.33 to 2 decimal places, we ended up with some kind of height, even though it was really tiny. We can officially say that x equals a negative is actually not applicable, because you cannot have a height of 0. Because if you have a height of 0, then it's no longer a triangle. It's a line. All right, and what would we want? We're dealing with a triangle. We don't want to change the triangle into a line. So we want to keep that going. The final answer here would be b equals 14, h equals 8.2 for part 2, right? For part 2. And now that means we have to put also not applicable over here, indicating it that it's something that we do not want.